Page 89, Prelude in A major. It's very famous music by Chopin. 3 sharps, well, it's an A major, we know that, okay. 3/4 time, it kind of helps in some cases, in most cases, to consider the form of the piece, what the type of the piece is, and that comes into interpreting the piece after you have it learned. A prelude is a short piece, usually short, doesn't have to be. Some preludes get a little long. It's kind of sounds like an improvisation that the person playing is kind of making up the music as they go along. It sets the tone or the mood of whatever's coming, whatever. And so we keep the improvisation thing in mind here. Fingering wise, well, even though this is piano music, it doesn't really fall on the fingers all that well, but the pedal's going to help us out, so that's fine. At the beginning, pick up beat. Now, watch out here on the first measure on these chords. In the right hand, the chord is here, here. G sharp's in the key signature, right? And the left hand, you have octaves. And they overlap. And you think, well, why did they do that? Why can't you just play an E here and here? And I'll let the music theorist explain why exactly. In my mind, he wants these chords in the left hand. Mentally, you think of them this way. All the way through. The chords are, there's not a lot going on there. It was just the last line first, then it gets changes a little bit there, and that's really what he was after. He wants these octaves, so we play them as octaves in one hand. Well, let the other hand then do the chord. This is, so you overlap it. Now because of that, one hand has to be on top, one hand has to be on the bottom. Usually the hand that plays a black key will be on top, because the black keys are higher up than the white keys. It's just easier. So generally we would play it this way with the left hand on the bottom. There's no real rule that says it has to be one way or the other. So some people will do it one way, other people will do it another, and that's fine. This rhythm though, that has to be crisp. Don't turn that into a triplet. No. Short note. You can even almost double dot it. It's what's called double dotting. It's another interpretation thing. When you start interpreting music, it was quite common way back, and still is actually, to sometimes you would make the dotted rhythm, the short note in a dotted rhythm, shorter. And that's double dotting it. And other times you would lengthen the short note or turn it into a triplet type thing. That is interpretation. I'm suggesting to you to keep it short. Just, if you're going to go toward one way or the other, then go toward double dotting or shortening the note. Here. But just a regular 16th note, so one ienda, there is fine. So, and I'm connecting. I want to protect the melodies. I'm fingering it that way. That way. 2. And that 1, 2. The people want to hold that out too long. 1, 2, 3, 4. They want to turn it into a 4/4 time. Short. And the lift up. They're saying 1, 3, and then here, because you connect this. Connect it. You can, if you would like, you can do a 1/4 and here, because I'm connecting it. Well, it's just a difference of this or this. You decide on a fingering you like. But that is a D natural. And then the B sharp is a C, of course. But connect the top note. And if I do here, I can do here. I do third finger on that one. I don't slide off. Here, and then I do 2/5 for the here, because that keeps my hand out here. I have rather large hands, although I can fit in there. I prefer to keep my hand out here, so I typically don't use thumb on a black key unless I have to. Different styles of fingering. That's fine. If you have small hands, it doesn't matter. You can come right up here all you want. Okay. But on that, this is the last three measures. They're on the first line. You're here, and then up here. I do a 1, 4, and then a 1, 2, and then a 1, 3, and then a 2. I'm ready with the 2 on the C sharp. And then going on. Now, again, I want to connect the melody. Here, and I do the best I can with the other notes. And notice the D is tied. You don't play it again, you hold down on it. It's here to here. So I've been leaving out the left hand. Let's go back and add the left hand. Let's do the first line. Crossing over again, but right hand's on top because it's got the black keys. So it's, and that C is not tied. You play it each time. And the fingering here, you can do this or this, 3 or 2, either one. Just pick one. And then like it is at the beginning. Now the fun stuff. Third line down, last 2 measures. Here, the C sharp E are both tied for the rest of the measure. You hold them down. So you're going to need 1 and 2 on that. And then 4 and 5 on the A C sharp. So you hold these down. And what I'm doing is I'm using weight. I'm just doing this, but I'm holding these down. I'm using weight to push these notes down. Here, and then that chord. I'll come back to the chord in a minute. But otherwise it's all black keys. Almost all black keys. What's all black keys in the right hand? And then the left hand, you have this, that's an A. It's just an A. And then down here, here. But put them together. And then this chord, let's talk about this chord. There's a note at the bottom. This chord may be divided between the hands as follows. Let me give an example. The key word there is maybe, not must be. Different people will finger this differently. But the arpeggio, the squiggly line, you're going to roll that chord. All those notes, one at a time, and go ahead and hold them down if you can. As much as you can. I mean, the pedal will help out, but you still hold them down with the hand. It's a half note. Hang on to it. And they're suggesting that fingering, it works out very well. I'm simply here with the right hand, the left hand's doing it all. Here. So the right hand's doing all of this, and the left hand's doing this and this. That's fine. It's not done rhythmically. It's just a rolled chord. How fast you go is part of interpretation again. It's not a real fast piece. No, it doesn't, and it doesn't go real slow either. Because some rolled chords you can play real slow. I mean, like quarter notes slow. Right now, just play it. They're doing 16th notes. That's fine. One ienda. That's fine. And then later on, when you get to know the piece and you start getting into it and start interpreting it, you may adjust the speed of that. You know, I could put in a retardando in the middle of the chord. I could slow down as I go up. Or maybe I want to speed up as I go down. See, I could slow down as I go up. Or I could speed up. I mean, there's different ways of interpreting these rolled chords. I'm just trying to give you some ideas. And if you're not sure what to do, just play it all the same. 16th notes are fine. And then go on. And that is an A sharp there. Remember, there's an A sharp in that chord. And it's still good. So, and then go on. And that's a D natural. You're doing that. And I do a 2 and a here, because I want to hear this. I like that. You can use thumb on all of them if you want. I don't recommend it. If your hand's big enough, use 2. If you have small hands, you can't. You have to use thumb. And then here. And then, and that little note, it's real quick little, well, it's like a 16th note. It's a 1E, 1E, not an 8th note, 1 and, a 16th note. It's written as an 8th note. You typically would divide that in half and play it and half that big. So I play it as a 16th note. And the A is tied. From that little note itself, it's tied. You don't play it again. Here. And it's played with the left hand. You see the little dash line that goes down? They're telling you to play it with those notes in the left hand. That's the notation for it. Like so. Otherwise, people might misconstrue that as a grace note and they would play it beforehand. And that would be incorrect. That's not what Chopin wanted. Now, it's a fairly slow piece. Andantino, well, people don't agree on what andantino means. Big surprise there. Because you have moderato, moderately, and you have andante, which is kind of a casual stroll. It's not slow, it's just a casual stroll. Well, some people say an andantino is a little andante, so they will say, well, it's a little faster than andante, and other people say, no, it's a little slower than andante. Knock yourself out on that one. Just you find all kinds of recordings and listen to several. Don't just listen to one, because different people will play this differently and interpret it differently. And I think that's the excitement of music, is it can be so different. They're reading the same music, more or less, but it comes out quite differently because they're interpreting it. So, and you're going to put in the phrase, you're going to connect this with the hands as best, but lift up. We want, like taking a breath between each phrase. 1, 2. 1, 2. 2. By the way, that E at the end of the second line is tied. Don't play it again. Now, it's very choppy. We need the pedal for the overtones and to help us connect these repeated tones. But we want to hear the phrasing. We don't want to cover that up. We want to hear the rests. We don't want to cover those up if we can help it. So we have to be very careful with the pedaling. It's overlapped pedaling, so you push the notes down first and then the pedal. And when you change the pedal, it's after you play the notes. So the pedal overlaps the harmony just a hair. Just a hair. So at the beginning, I don't pedal the first note. Here, and then after I play these notes, a pedal, and I change the pedal on the second beat. I don't want all this. We want to clear that out. Lift the hands, so there's like taking a breath. Lift the hand. Is tied. And on this one, go ahead and change the pedal after you start the rolled chord. Make sure you hold the notes down long enough to catch them, because when you overlap it, there's a little bit before the pedal catches them, and if you don't hold the notes down, you'll lose them. The pedal won't grab them. So make sure you hold these down here. And that's really the pedaling. It's fairly simple, the way it goes. Now the hard part. Oh, you're going to love this part. We want to hear the melody. So this piano, this dolce at the beginning, dolce is sweetly. Okay. That applies to the melody. Softly. Everything else has to be very soft. Can you bring out one note in a chord? Can you bring that note out? and still play soft. I want to hear that note. So that's the hard part. Bring out the melody and let all the rest go. Now there is a crescendo there in the third line because you've been soft, and now you can go up to moderately soft. Don't get loud. Here, and some people, there's no indications. According to the music, they want you to stay at this loudness, about moderately soft. And then in the last two measures, you can get softer. And some people will slow down there. There's no indication of it. Again, that gets them into interpreting the music. I wouldn't slow down very much if you do, and you don't need to slow down at all. But with this, I want to hear this, and as I'm getting softer here, everything else has to be really super soft. And at the end of two beats, everything comes up. There's no fermata. You don't hang on to it. Everything comes up.